Alright guys, hope you're doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. In my last video, I talked about the evidence I'd received heavily suggesting the new Division 2 content will not be coming until at least January of next year. This was based on a screenshot that I'd received showing an ETF member talking about going to Sweden in January under NDA, along with further messages from other ETF members confirming the same thing. Well, I'm now having major doubts for a few reasons that I wanted to discuss today. It's very likely the new content is still coming out as planned in December of this year, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to be happy about that, so this could possibly be a good news video depending on who you are. But I want to take a look at what's happened since my video went up on Monday. Drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all my videos. And let's begin. So leading on from my introduction, I'd recommend you check out my last video. That way you'll be able to get the full details of why I believe the new content was coming next year. And by the way, what I will say is that's still very much a possibility, and I'll get into that. Now, unless I say in my videos that I'm speculating, note that whatever I report on, whether that be new content like my last video or other stuff, that's always going to be supported by evidence I've received from sources. And as with all of these videos, I will never disclose my source or the evidence unless the information comes from a public source like Twitter or other forums. I've loads of times I've reported on stuff on Reddit, and that's a public forum, and for the most part I will disclose that stuff for you guys. Unless the person who's posted it has reached out to me to say that I shouldn't, then for the most part for me that's kind of fair game. Now, the screenshot I've received and other evidence I believe is still true, but it's looking like the ETF members involved may be travelling to Sweden under NDA for another project, not the Division 2, and it just so happens it's a coincidence that it's numerous ETF members that are doing it. Now, following my video, Yannick actually responded to my video in the comments section saying the following: "Hey, we have not made any plans yet for an ETF for the upcoming content. Whoever said they're coming to Sweden is not coming for an ETF, nor anything related to the Division 2 that I'm aware of, and I would know. We got something valuable out of each ETF, even if the outcome is not always apparent to the community. I love that program, and I'd love to keep building on it, but I cannot say yet if it will be feasible for this update." So firstly, I have to applaud Yannick for responding to my video. I know he didn't have to, and quite frankly I didn't expect a response. It was actually a really nice surprise. It does appear then that the ETF members who are flying out to Sweden have nothing to do with the Division 2, and I've got no reason not to believe what Yannick is saying. If the ETF were flying out, I'm pretty sure Yannick would have just been silent and not responded at all. The fact that he's responded actually makes me believe him more. He does say that it's not completely off the table with his final sentence, so it's still a possibility. They're going to go out and help, of course. But as of right now, ETF are not going. Also, one thing I didn't even consider is the fact that remote access and doing this stuff remotely, as in providing feedback, is probably going to be the best way for them to do it anyway, rather than flying people out. So the prospects of the ETF actually going there, again, are probably unlikely. And this would actually be consistent with messages I received from ETF members directly, some of which I've got a very good professional relationship with and who's never had a problem before disclosing stuff to me privately. As soon as I posted the video, a few members and other people reached out to say they had heard nothing about this. So again, I think Yannick is probably telling the truth here. I want to apologise if I got your hopes up or perhaps made you annoyed in my last video, but I'm simply reporting on the evidence I'd received. And I do think the evidence I had was convincing. If it wasn't remotely convincing, I would have said so. But at least to me, from what I've seen, it was really quite convincing. This uncertainty is obviously because Ubisoft wants to keep things hush-hush. There is speculation flying around all over the place about not just when this new content is coming, but the amount of content we are going to be getting as well. There's speculation that the new content will be released over 2 time periods, with some content coming out in December and then the new season starting in early next year, giving the remainder of content. So, like, we get kind of a new game mode with maybe some balance and stuff in December with title update 13, and then a new season pass next year, you know, with the new weapons, gear, manhunts, and all that sort of stuff. There's so much speculation right now. It's kind of become a wildfire of possibilities, and I understand that I have contributed to that a whole lot, but it's kind of Ubisoft's fault, because silence. So what do you guys think about all of this? Leave it in the comments down below. I was very optimistic in my last video, pointing out the reasons why an early February release might be a good idea, albeit later than I would like, but it appears that's not the case unless the split content drop theory is accurate. That's not me saying I'm not optimistic anymore, but I'm kind of back to square one. What I will say is, the last update I got about how the devs are getting on basically said they are still on track for a release date. I got this update, what was it, yesterday or maybe the day before, so after I'd already posted my video on Monday. And this update came from August. This is of course unofficial, but really solid. Unlike the ETF stuff, which I thought was pretty good, this news comes from within Massive themselves, so I know it's really, really solid. That's about the only thing I can say with absolute certainty at this point. The December release is still on track to release, which makes me wonder, will The Division Heartland make it out before the Division 2 content, as was suggested in the timelines from the Ubisoft article going back to, what was it, March, May time, I can't remember the exact month that it was. I do have my doubts. It's been many months and we've heard nothing from Red Storm. I know Terry Spire wants to talk. He said as much on Twitter, but as Ubisoft own 100% of Red Storm, he's not allowed until he's kind of given the green light. It could be coming out in the next couple of weeks for all we know. Hoping we hear something soon about this, because I'm genuinely looking forward to playing Heartlands, and if it can deliver, it's only going to strengthen the franchise and increase the possibility of a Division 3, something I want to see in my lifetime. It's not something that I think is on the table at present. I don't think there's any plans to make a Division 3 right now, but if Heartlands can really pull in an audience, and if they can get the numbers in, and if it can kind of reach over into the Division and the Division 2, I see no reason as to why it doesn't get put on the table for Massive to work on in the future. And for any of you guys thinking that the Division 3 might be with another studio, it's highly unlikely. If there is going to be a Division 3, it will almost certainly sit with Massive. I'm now away on holiday for the next week, so I'm not going to be back until after the 28th, meaning that unless something monumental happens in terms of news next week for the Division, there won't be any videos from me. Thanks for watching, guys, and until the next one, epic out.